I'm Milton Tyree. I'm an associate with Mark Golden Associates in the U.S., and I've gotten to work with people with disabilities finding jobs for more than 4 decades now. And one of the most exciting things that I've had a chance to learn about and be involved in for the last 15 years or so is something we call customized employment. It just opened the door for many people with disabilities to have good, fitting, socially valued jobs, for employers to have great employees. It's been good for everyone, for society, for business, and for people with disabilities and their families. So customized employment is highly relational. It involves devoting time to get to know people, job seekers who have disability, and getting to know businesses. Getting to know what it is that a business needs to have done and how that would be a fit for the job seeker. So we spend time with the job seeker in a process called discovery. One of the things that I think is really important about discovery is for families to think about how they can undertake this themselves and be involved with other people doing it. One of the challenges that I see for families is people are so daggone busy just doing what they always do anyhow. And they may be thinking, how in the world can I do something other than what I'm doing? And so one way I think about it is, instead of doing something new, do something different with what's already in place. And where I think that can come is something that is going to be a natural attraction for parents who always want to see the best for their sons and daughters. And that is to set aside what so often has been so influential in the lives of families and their children who have disability. And that is a very highly medicalized, clinical, behavioristic sort of approach. And instead, to think about what it is they're seeing in their child. And this could be an adult's child, of course. What it is that they are seeing and what that means. And they're looking through a lens of hopefulness and possibility instead of a lens of critique and labeling or behavior problem. So what is it that you're noticing that your son or daughter does, and why do they do that? Why does everything have to be arranged in a certain way or in a certain order? Why is that important? So I've heard examples recently of things like a son who puts up the dishes or just puts things away in the kitchen where they need to be. And so the question is, so why is that? What is it about doing those things that brings some sense of just centering or pleasure or meaning to their son or daughter? Because what it is that everybody is looking for is what parents are looking for their sons and daughters and what they themselves are looking for. And that is a way to belong and a way to have purpose and a way to have relationships with other people. So paying attention to your son's or daughter's interests is really important, because that very often is connected with what can be a contribution, what it is that they can find purpose in and offer through work or just other aspects of life. So one of the things to think about is the same as is true for all of us. And that is, if we have an interest in something, we're going to want to learn more about it. We're going to want to get to meet other people who are interested in the same kind of thing. And that's what we can assist our sons or daughters with, just to find other allies, other people. If you have a daughter who's interested in photography, meet some other people who work in the field of photography. There's just a whole universe of possibilities there. And so Carrie Griffin with Griffin Hamison Associates talks a lot about informational interviews, that very structure of meeting with people who do something for a living and saying, I have a daughter who's really interested in learning about what people do in photography, what's the whole range of possibilities. And then to have that person introduced to other people, and you just have conversations to learn about different kinds of tasks and possibilities in that area of life. Doesn't mean you have to go to school to become a photographer. There are all kinds of different possibilities. I remember an instance of somebody that I was asked to support a number of years back to think about work. And my concern was that after meeting with him and his mom and dad, that he never seemed to get off the couch. This was about 30 years ago. And I remember the person who had requested that I assist, I complained. I said, but he doesn't get off the couch. And she said to me, so figure out why he's on the couch and what it is that he's doing and what kinds of possibilities. There has to be some time when he leaves the couch. What is that, and what does that look like? And so that was really wise advice. And so I got to spend time with him in the living room. I didn't necessarily join him on the couch, but I spent time with him while he was on the couch to figure out why that was. And a lot of what I learned was that here is somebody's life who'd been so consumed with just difficulty and rejection. And it just seemed like it made the most sense not to leave the house. And so just started by asking him and his mom, like, when do you leave the house? And so I asked if I could join them when they did. And so they had to do grocery shopping together because he had to leave the house when his mom went grocery shopping. So we did that. And then tried to think of some other things that he might just leave the house and do with me. And so I knew that he liked getting a Coke at McDonald's. So we would just make a short run to McDonald's and get a Coke. And then I started thinking about different kinds of things that he could do to help me in my work, like go to the copy shop and help with duplicating and things like that. And so we got into a pattern of things that were safe, that he always understood that if he wanted to leave at any time that we could leave. But that rarely happened because he was interested in doing something and being with people. It was just that he hadn't had the experience of being with people or doing things. One of the things that can happen with people who have significant impact of disability is that their lives and the lives of their families has just become consumed with all of what there is to figure out about that. And so their life experiences may have been limited. It could be that the person's never even thought about work and neither has their family. And so the whole idea of exploration that's always important to discovery becomes exponentially important for this person.